This video is to help demonstrate how the 3D mapping test lane should be built. This video is an overview of the test lane. Please refer to the guidebook for full instructions. We will first show and describe how the fiducials were built. For a full list of materials you may need, refer to the printed guidebook. When building the fiducials, you may use any sturdy materials such as foam core board, fluted plastic, insulation foam panels, plywood, expanded PVC, or corrugated cardboard. These items can be held together by tape, glue, screws, or a combination of any of those, as long as the fiducials maintain their required dimensions. For this build, we use insulated foam board, hot glue, painter's tape, a framer square, a sturdy measuring device, and a cutting instrument. Here, you can see that 24 inch by 24 inch, or 2 feet, has been measured out and then cut for one of the fiducial panels. You will need a total of 20 panels to create 5 fiducials. As you can see, this panel has been cut at a 45-degree angle. A second panel has been cut in the same manner. These two edges are then placed together to form the 90-degree angle. You may not need to cut your material as demonstrated, but keep in mind you will need to have a 90-degree angle for each of your 5 fiducials. Once secured and placed together, verify that the two still maintain the 90-degree angle. Depending on your material, you may need to brace your panels at the back to ensure the 90-degree angle remains. Attach the 2 remaining panels to the 90-degree section at an angle of 135 degrees so that they will lay flat against the surface to which they will be applied. Complete this for all 5 fiducials. Next, you will print 10 2D targets onto high-quality paper. A PDF file with the targets will be provided. Measure the gaps in the ring openings, which look like C's. Refer to the printed guide for the necessary scaling. You will later place these targets within the test lane. You will also need to create 9 3D objects of interest. These 3D objects will be in the form of cubes. You will need to construct 3 8-inch by 8-inch by 8-inch cubes, 3 4-inch by 4-inch by 4-inch cubes, and 3 2-inch by 2-inch by 2-inch cubes. The final dimensions need to be within plus or minus 1/2 inch. They must be identical and uniform in color. You may paint or cover them as desired. You will later place the 3D objects within the test lane. Here, we will discuss the construction of the test lane. Select a hallway-like space which is well lit, at least 20 feet long, with an extra area for the operator. Using painter's tape, mark the starting line along the entire hallway width, perpendicular to the wall. Measure from the starting line, adding 6 additional line markers along the width of the hallway at the following locations:
2.5 feet,
5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet,
17.5 feet,
and 20 feet.
Refer to the printed guide for the specific relative accuracy of the placement of each line.
1 fiducial will be placed in the center of the floor, and 4 will be placed against the walls. Attach them with tape or other sturdy means. Secure the fiducial on the floor at the 10-foot mark. Place the other 4 fiducials against the left and right walls at the 5-foot and 15-foot marks. Refer to the printed guide for further guidance on the placement of the fiducials. Place a 2D target at any location or orientation within the following areas.
Place number 1 between the 2.5 feet and the 5 feet lines on the floor. Between the 5 feet and 10 feet lines, you will place number 2 on the floor, number 3 on the left wall, number 4 on the right wall, and number 5 on the ceiling. Between the 10 feet and 15 feet lines, place number 6 on the floor, number 7 on the left wall, number 8 on the right wall, and number 9 on the ceiling. Place number 10 between the 15 feet and the 17.5 feet lines on the floor.
Place each set of the 3D objects of interest following these guidelines. The 3 cubes in the set shall be no more than 2 feet apart. The area around each set must be flat and cleared to a distance of 6 inches. Ensure that they do not move in the presence of air currents. You may need to adjust the mounting or attach the group to a board of appropriate size to meet the clearance requirements so that they will rest on a coplanar surface. Mount each set in any orientation within the following areas: between the 5 feet and 10 feet lines on the floor, between the 10 feet and 15 feet lines on the floor, and between the 5 feet and 15 lines on one of the walls, and at least 2 feet up from the floor and 2 feet down from the ceiling. For the test procedure, you will take video footage and measurements before the flight. You may prepare the UAS for flight between the 0 foot and 2.5 foot lines, but do not arm. Select one of the 4 cameras and begin recording. Refer to the printed guide for the required location of the 4 cameras. Video from the 4 cameras in this demonstration will be visible shortly. Walk through the test lane, noting each piece of test apparatus, similar to what was just shown. Record the following ground truth measurements on camera to an accuracy of 0.5 inch without stopping the video. The distance between the left and right fiducials at the 5 foot mark. The distance between the fiducials on the left side wall at the 5 and 15 feet marks. The distance between the fiducials on the right side wall at 5 and 15 foot marks. The distance between the left and right fiducials at the 15 foot mark. The diagonal distance between the left fiducial at the 5 foot mark and the right hand at the 15 foot mark. The diagonal distance between the right fiducial at the 5 foot mark and the left hand one at the 15 foot mark. The distance between the left fiducial at the 5 foot mark and nearest upper corner of the floor fiducial at the 10 foot mark. The distance between the left fiducial at the 15 foot mark and the nearest upper corner of the floor fiducial at the 10 foot mark. The distance between the right fiducial at the 5 foot mark and the nearest upper corner of the floor fiducial at the 10 foot mark. And lastly, the distance between the right fiducial at the 15 foot mark and the nearest upper corner of the floor fiducial at the 10 foot mark. You will then place this camera back in position without stopping the video. This portion of the video has been sped up for brevity reasons. Ensure your video is in real time with no time or speed adjustments. You will sync your recordings by clapping or turning off and on a light visible to all cameras. The camera closest to the pilot must also record sound. Refer to the printed guide for the placement of the cameras.
All 4 camera views should be visible simultaneously in your video submission as shown here momentarily.
Taking off. Moving forward. Stop. Landing.
At this point, all cameras except for the operator view can be stopped. Ensure the stopwatch is still running until the map has been generated and saved to an external media and ejected. You will submit one video, the test procedure video A, and another of the processing video, which is video B. The processing of the map is not shown in this video.